Anduin, a character accepted by some, loved by others, but hated by many, for the longest time hasn't had a chance to shine in the spotlight. But with Blizzard's new motion comic that they put out, some of that changes. We see Anduin taking up the responsibility of being a king, of keeping a level head even though his own life is on the line, and for the first time ever, even inheriting some traits from his dad. Now, the way Blizzard published these comics is really weird. Some of these comics you can't even see them anymore. Others were published a few months before the launch of Legion, but for some reason they're not available on the website anymore. So I just thought that I'd take this opportunity to go over the Anduin story for all of you guys to see, especially since most of you guys more than likely did not see it, and since it is pretty damn interesting. So it opens up with Anduin reading the letter that Varian wrote to him before he died, and as he reads it, one question from his father sticks in his head. Can we truly find peace? Upon reflecting on this letter, however, a dreadlord disguised as one of his own personal guards attempted to assassinate him, only to have Anduin stop the spear mid-air with his own hand. Now keep in mind, this is the kid who had trouble holding a two-handed sword in the past several years ago. Now he's stopping a death blow from a Nathrazim with literally his hand. Not only that, but he incapacitates the demon biting him with the power of the light. Now the Dreadlord, seeing as to how he's basically screwed and can't really kill Anduin at this exact moment, then tries a different method of ending the war in the Legion's favor. He tries to persuade Anduin to join the Legion, like how Gul'dan convinced the Nightborn to join the Legion. Only in this case, it doesn't exactly work. The Dreadlord tells Anduin that the wolf, being Varian, had already fallen at the broken shore. He says that with the wolf dead, the war is already over, that Anduin was and will never be like his father. The Dreadlord continues by trying to break through Anduin's resolve with his words. He tells Anduin that time and time again, Anduin had shamed and failed his father, that Varian wanted a son, a true son, that could be every bit of the warrior that he was, but instead, Anduin was the complete opposite. Just a fool who dreamed of peace in a world that would never achieve it. And even worse than that, was that because Anduin was who he was and not who his father wanted him to be, he had made Varian weaker as well. But as the Dreadlord said this, the words of his father echoed into his head. The Dreadlord spoke of how Anduin befriended the Alliance's enemies. Tolerance, the voice of Varian said. You opposed him and made him weak. You leashed him. Faith, the voice of Varian came again. But now you have seen the true path, and now that you have seen it, it is far too late to learn your father's ways. The Nathrazim then followed up by saying that declaring war with the Legion would be foolhardy, that if he truly desired peace, then he should lay down his weapons and his arms, free the Dreadlord, and join the ranks of the Burning Legion. Peace. Peace is the most noble aspiration, but to preserve it, you must be willing to fight. And with that, Anduin destroyed the Dreadlord, sending him back to the Nether. Now, a lot of people who have seen this comic speculate that Anduin is now a paladin instead of a priest. Not just because he manages to overpower the Dreadlord and wreck him, but because he says these words as the Dreadlord dies. Yes, I changed my father, but he also changed me. Anduin has changed his father from a wolf who always rushed into situations into a warrior who became tolerant of decisions that needed to be made to possibly achieve peace. An example of this is when Varian nearly killed Moira in Ironforge, which would have sparked up a dwarven civil war between the Dark Irons, the Wildhammers, and the Bronzebeards, but one thing stopped him from doing so, and that one thing was the faith he had in his son. And now Varian has changed Anduin. Peace is something that can be achieved, but in order to preserve it, you must be willing to fight. Anduin realizes this. He realizes that you just can't be a pacifist 24/7 like he once was. He knows that the perfect leader isn't one who is the best warrior in the world that can win every battle he starts. It isn't a leader who tries to achieve peace without soldiers dying. It is a leader who can balance the two. One who can fight and lead his people in order to achieve peace. And he can be seen as this perfect leader in the final scene of the comic. Many decades later, we don't know exactly how many years, but sometime in the future, we see Anduin holding the letter that his father had written to him before Gul'dan killed him at the Broken Isles, and he finally says that we are ready to achieve peace. For at this time, somewhere in the future, the last battle between light and void, between good and evil, will take place. At this time, Anduin is the leader, or one of the leaders of the Army of the Light, having led his people through Legion, through the threats from whatever expansions follow up behind it, and up until this final battle. And that is the fate of Anduin, guys. Should sub numbers continue to rise, WoW continues to do well, and Blizzard still makes their cash, this may come to reality soon enough. Anduin survives battle after battle, enemy after enemy, and remains king long enough to lead us against the Void Lords, unless for some reason Blizzard decides to retcon this, which wouldn't be too surprising. Anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope the majority of you happened to not see this comic, so that when you actually saw it right here and now, it came to you all as a shocker. Post down below in the comments what your thoughts are, guys, on the topic, and until next time, I will see you later.